Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Ardo. Welcome back to another post-game stream. Man, what a game that was. Before I get into it, make sure to follow me on Twitter at StoneColdKittle. You got any questions about game, about anything I say, make sure to leave them in the chat below or in the comments below. Let's just get right into the game. I'm so hyped after that. We won 34-41. Another Robbie Gold made field goal for the win. What an unbelievable game that was. I'm going to get into position by position. But my takes, my just in general takes for the game, I feel like we could have played a lot better, but a win is a win is a win. So, I mean, that's really all I got to say. I feel like they played pretty well. We played pretty well. So, I mean, I can't really complain too much about a win. So, it's good. Dom, thanks for tuning in. Let's just get into – hold on one second, actually. Alrighty. All right, let's just get into position by position. I cannot speak English right now. Quarterback, I mean, Jimmy, what a game from him. Obviously, he did have 2 picks. One was his fault. The other was Sanders' fault. I'd say that. So, yeah, and then I think other than that, he had a pretty decent game. He threw a touchdown to Kittle. I think this Debo one was a rush. I'm not 100%. I forget. But he had a pretty decent game. We'll check the stats later when we do fantasy. Running back, Mostert, phenomenal game yet again. I mean, we should be giving him the ball a lot more. I don't understand why we're not. I feel like we're trying to implement Coleman in there, even though Mostert has been playing like a number 1 running back. So, yeah, I think we just got to keep doing that. Keep running with Mostert. Just keep that up, and I think we're going to have a lot of success. Wide receivers, I said they needed to step it up. They did. That was a phenomenal game by them. I know Sanders obviously had that 75-yard catch, but that was the New Orleans game. But he had he had that clutch catch at the end, deep ball. Other than that, I feel like he didn't have the best game, in my opinion. He had that he dropped the ball for the pick. But other than that, I think he had a pretty decent game. And then Bourne and Sanders were phenomenal tonight. We needed them. We needed them all they could give us, and they did. So glad the receivers stepped back, took a step back into where they needed to go. So, yeah, those were 2 of my key players right there, Debo and Emmanuel Sanders. I think they performed pretty well tonight. Let's go to the offensive line. I think they did okay. I think so at some points I thought they did really well. At some points they thought they did really bad. I think it was more towards the bad side. Ben Garland obviously really struggled at the beginning with those snaps. I think he had 1 high snap, 1 low snap. He kind of struggled. I think he got used to it. The interior line was one of my key players. And Ben Garland was one that did okay. Brunskill started. I made the stream. I streamed pregame before Brunskill starting was announced. So yeah, that's so but I think he did pretty well there, I guess you could say. So yeah, I think he did okay. I mean, when you're going against a pretty decent D-line, Aaron Donald, I know you got to worry about him. You got to worry about the rest of their D-line. It's a bit hard, but I think they could have done a bit better today. Laken Tomlinson's the other person on that team. I think he could have definitely done better. So I think the interior line could have done a bit better. It's all right, though. And then Joe Staley obviously had a horrible game last week. He really stepped up. I don't think there wasn't really that many instances where I was really calling him out on anything. But overall, I think the O-line needed to have a bit of a better day. I think Jimmy got pressured a bit too much. That was one of my keys for them. They needed to pressure a lot, and they did just that. So, all right, so that's the offense. For defense, I think the D-line, Bosa, what an unbelievable game he had. I don't think we had that many any sacks maybe, but he provided so much pressure. Same with Solomon Thomas too. I think he provided a lot of pressure. I think he should have got a sack or 2 maybe. So yeah, I think they did a phenomenal job today. I always do. So good job by them. Buckner did pretty well today, I think. I saw Sheldon Dale on the field. I think he was okay, I guess. He didn't really play that much of an impact on the team today. But whatever. Armstead also, that man had a huge game. So that was huge. And I also got to see a lot of Contavious Street out there. Again, didn't make too much of an impact, but still on there a lot. So that's good to see for us, considering that he hasn't been on the field at all recently, or ever, actually. All right, now let's get into the linebackers. I think they played phenomenal. That was probably their best game of the year. Al-Shaair had a phenomenal game. He had a few great tackles, clutch tackles. Warner had that pick six. That was a game that changed the game in my opinion. That was if without that pick six, we don't win. That momentum stays on their side. We don't win. I think it's that simple. So, so I think the linebackers did a phenomenal job. Greenlaw had some great plays out there too, so that was great to see. I think they all did a phenomenal job, and but I do think that they didn't do the best job they could. I think there's definitely some spots on the team where you want Quan Alexander out there, just by like depending on what type of play it is. You definitely want Quan Alexander out there doing his thing. So hopefully we can get him back. I know there's a slight chance we get him back for the NFC Championship if we get that far. We'll see what happens there. Cornerbacks, that was not that good, to be completely honest. I feel like Sherman was okay. I don't think he played that much of a role. I think the one person that did impact the team in a very negative way was Witherspoon. I mean, he was blowing coverages here and there. I know that they ran that. I know that he was blowing coverages over there. Robert Woods did pretty good against him, so I think we need to. Hopefully, he can really step it up next week against Seattle. I also think they ran that one play. I'll get into that a bit later. Williams, having him back was great too. I felt like he made a bit of an impact there, so that was great to see him back. And then the safeties were pretty good today. I know Harris dropped that pick that should have ended the game, but we won the game after that, and I think Harris did a phenomenal job other than that one pick. So credit to him. He's probably going to get a lot of hate, but I don't think he deserves it whatsoever. And Jimmy Ward is the other guy. I think he did pretty well tonight. Again, not too much of an impact, but still, I think he did pretty well. Now, as a defense in general, I think the one thing that we really need to focus on is that one play where I think it's a play action play. He hands it off, Goff starts running on one side, then spins around, and then goes to the other side. It fools the entire defense. And I think that's the perfect play that Seattle is going to run against us next week. So we need to adjust to that. I don't think we really adjusted at all first half with that. Or covering. Like, I think coverage was really poor in the first half, but we adjusted pretty well after. So I think that was pretty good adjustments after, but we should have adjusted much sooner in the game. That's on Salah's fault for that. I think so. Let's get into what my keys of the game were. So offense, it was just pass and catch. I think we did a phenomenal job at doing that. I think our passing could have been a bit better, but still, Oh, the one player I didn't get into, George Kittle. Again, another phenomenal game, best tight end in the league. Don't need to say more. Touchdown. Yeah. Oh, great blocking too. I think they all. I think there's a lot of highlights out there of him blocking, doing a lot of blocking. So, I think phenomenal game from him. I don't think I can ever expect a non-phenomenal game from him. So, yeah. So pass and catch was our offensive key of the game with Troy Hill out. And we kind of need to step up. The replacement for him, Darius Williams, did pretty good actually. So that was good, I guess. So good for them. I think we need to, especially going into Seattle next week, we're gonna have to make some adjustments there. Secondary, I feel like is actually pretty decent this year. So we're gonna have to make adjustments to get better at that. I think we did pretty well tonight though. On defense, I said stopping the run was the best part. I think we did that pretty well. Gurley. Excuse me. Gurley didn't do that much, honestly. He scored that one touchdown, but that was after the pick or that one of the picks. It was an instant red zone for them, I think, or something. Or no, they might have just driven downfield without him. But I think we stopped the run pretty well tonight. When you're in the inside the 5-yard line, you're bound to get a rushing touchdown. So I'm not surprised that Gurley got a few, but I think we stopped the run pretty well tonight. Other than those 2 touchdowns. And one of my key players was Richard Sherman. I got into every other key player except for him. As I said, he wasn't too much of a factor. He got hurt earlier. I forget what injury it was. I think it was an arm injury, but he did all right. He came back in. He was fine. We'll see what the status on him is. And the LA keys were to pass a lot. They did that in the first half. I feel like they kind of slowed down the second half. I feel like our defense kind of woke up, which is really good for us. And we had a ton of injuries in our secondary that it didn't really show as much as I thought it would. I mean, Sherman, I thought maybe other people would be slow, but not really. So, yeah. Also, Mosley really stepped it up today. I don't think I forgot to talk about him. He really stepped it up today. I feel like, although he didn't get as much playing time, he stepped it up in the way we needed to. He needed to. And on defense, applying the pressure, they did that. I don't think I think they did the best they could with that part. So, yeah. So, and my score prediction was 30-26. I said it would be a bloodbath game. It was a bloodbath game. It was a bit higher scoring than I thought. It was 34-31. So, yeah. All right, now we get into fantasy. Let's pull it up right here. So I think this week was a pretty good day. I'm assuming it was a pretty good day for some fantasy parts, but others maybe not. We'll see what happens. All right, so Jimmy G was projected 19.4. He only got 12.42. I think those 2 interceptions really mattered. So yeah, that he only had 1 pass touchdown. I was meaning to check that after. That was the one to Kittle. So the Debo was a rush touchdown, as was the Mostert one, and then we got that pick 6 for the last touchdown. Debo, speaking of him, 13.9 points with 3 rush attempts, 28 yards, 6 targets for, let's see, for he was 4 for 6 for targets, 6 targets, 4 receptions. So I'll take that. Matt Breida did not get in the game at all. That's a bit surprising to me. I feel like they usually try to rotate everyone. It's going to be interesting to do what they do with him in the offseason because he's on his contract year. We have already 2 running backs that I think have really shown that they're more reliable than him, considering he's pretty injury prone. Worst case scenario, Jeff Wilson could come up, another solid running back that could come up and take a spot. We'll see what we do. Depends how much money we want to pay him. So, yeah, we'll get into that when the offseason comes. Juszczyk had a reception with 2 targets. It was a 23-yard reception, 2.8 points. Kittle with 16.4 points, 5 receptions, 8 targets, 79 yards receiving touchdown. Great game from him, as usual. Tevin Coleman with 3.3 points. Didn't do that much. As I've said, we need to keep going with Mostert. That's how we're going to win more games and get better scores. Bourne, 2 receptions, 3 targets. I'm surprised he's on the field more. I think he's our primary red zone threat, which that's when you kind of like take a bit more notice. But so he is our primary red zone threat. I feel like he could be on the field a bit more, but we'll see. Richie James, 0 points. You don't get points for kickoff returns. That was a phenomenal kickoff return he had earlier in the game. 80-something yards, 81 yards, I think it was. That was phenomenal. We need to see that out of him more. He hasn't really – I mean, he's obviously a good kick returner. Like, that's why we have him back there, and he's reliable. But I think the Niners have a more conservative approach with that. So usually he doesn't take the ball, and it's always great to just see him take the ball out, go for a run, see what he can do because he's capable of taking it to the house if he wants. Emmanuel Sanders, 7.6 points. As I said, he was probably our worst receiver today. He had 3 receptions, 6 targets, 61 yards. Most of those were on that final play. He dropped the ball that led to the pick, so it's all right for him. Robbie Gould, 10 points, 4 PATs, 2 field goals. Yeah, I mean, Robbie, I love when Robbie gets points. Kind of hard to say that this is probably these are some of his last few games. I mean, he's been really good for us the past 3 years, so it's going to be sad to see him go. Unfortunately, maybe we can keep him. We'll see, but I doubt we keep him at all. Considering he wanted out the beginning of the season. We're going to tag Armstead probably, so we'll see what happens to him. Niners D got 7 points, 31 points allowed. Pick 6 helped a lot with that. Get those points up. Now to the second 49ers team. Only 2. Oh, Ross Dwelly's the other tight end that did something. He got that 1 reception, 25 yards. Got that late hit too on Weddle hit him late, and he got that 15-yard penalty. So that's good for him. Raheem Mostert had and Dwelly had 3 points. Mostert had 11.3 points. He was projected 11.16, 11 rush attempts, 53 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, and 1 target. So phenomenal game from him. Phenomenal game all around, I'd say. Obviously, there's some flaws that need to be fixed before next week. Next week, obviously, we play Seattle. I bet that game's going to be flexed to the Sunday night slot. So we'll see what happens about that. But obviously, that game's going to be for the number 1 seed. I mean, it doesn't matter if Seattle wins or loses next week. It's for the number 1 seed. It's for the NFC West. it's for honestly, it could be for our season, to be completely honest. Yeah, I mean, it could be for our season. I mean, if we're the 5 seed, we gotta go to Dallas, which should be an easy win, and then go to Seattle or Philly, and then go to Seattle. So this could really be our season. It's a must-win game. I didn't want it to be a must-win game. I've been saying that all year. So hopefully we can really step it up next week. I can't even. I think the last time we won in Seattle was like 2011. So, man, I am hoping that we can win next week against them. That's definitely going to be biggest game of the week by far and biggest game of the season so far. So that's going to do it for post game. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you next week when we play Seattle. Go Niners.